Hey guys, Hotpocket500 here. In today's day and age of video games, the ideas for different video games is seemingly endless, and that happens to be the same thing for horror games. But that wasn't the case back then. Horror games weren't made excessively as they are now, because horror games are a new hip thing. Meanwhile, back in the 1980s, stuff like Pac-Man, Super Mario Brothers, and more series like that would continue to live on. And that's what I want to talk about now. I'm going to be talking about video games and one specific horror game, which is Five Nights at Freddy's, and the way that I retrospect on that game.
Five Nights at Freddy's is a point-click horror game where you are a security guard at a family diner resembling a Chuck E. Cheese. The four animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, are the only characters to stay away from.
Back when this game first released, it wasn't much of a big deal, but once Markiplier and Yummy Mash started playing it, everyone just started playing it. I mean, I can see why someone like a YouTuber would make a video game really popular, you know? And that's what happened with a lot of creators, especially Markiplier and PewDiePie, because they made certain video game franchises as popular as they are now. Eventually, Five Nights at Freddy's became the most popular game of all time, and Scott Cawthon had made a lot of profit off of that game. But let's take it back to all the way to the beginning, where the whole entire story of FNAF was not a thing. Scott Cawthon was like your regular urban guy. He had a family, he lived in Texas, and he, had a good life with himself. What Scott did for a living was make certain 3D animations for his church and just for his family. And that was when he would start with his kids and making certain series of Bible plays that they would do and stuff like David and Goliath. Eventually, Scott would go on to make a series of The Pilgrim's Progress and make games like The Desolate Hope, and then eventually would make Chipper & Sons Lumber Co. Before Scott decided to make Five Nights at Freddy's, he was working on one small final project, which was Chipper & Sons Lumber Co. Now, the game did really bad. The reason why is because apparently the characters were too scary and looked like Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. But eventually, Scott Cawthon took that into mind, and with his final project, he made Five Nights at Freddy's. Scott didn't mean to make this game such a big hit, but after this game released, everyone started downloading it. Everyone started downloading it, people started playing it, Markiplier and Yummy Mash started making it popular, and then eventually he made a sequel, and then a threequel, and then so on and so forth. Everything expanded from merch, to more games, to even books that were being released based off of the game. Eventually, all good things come to an end. On the morning of June 17th, 2021, Scott Cawthon announced his retirement from ScottGames.com. It was sad to see him go. It was sad to see a game developer that I've admired for a long time to go away from making video games. And that's all because of the controversy Republican donations that he's made.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Fazbear Entertainment would like you to put your hands together for the one, the only, Freddy Fazbear.
So yeah, pretty much. I mean, FNAF isn't as exactly the same as it used to be, but I'm just glad that this franchise itself is still alive. I mean, we can all go back to our first game that we've ever played with FNAF. So yeah, I mean, maybe the games aren't as well, but at least we have the old games that we can return to. So yeah, that's pretty much my retrospective on FNAF, and just the way that I like the game and the whole history of the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's. Anyways, today is Shout Out Thursday, and I'd like to give a shout out to Nestor on TikTok. So go ahead and follow him over there, and I'll see you guys in the next video.